Hello and welcome to the Get Creative Podcast, the podcast for creatives by creatives. I'm Evan Schmidt, and my guest today is Marc Dionne. He's the director of photo and video at Reactive Design Inc. It's a production company based in Whistler, British Columbia. All right, so Marc Dionne, thanks for coming on the show today. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure, thank you for having me. Well, I'm originally from Ontario and I'm currently the director of photo, video, and aerial division of a small bean company called Reactive Design Inc. in Whistler, BC, Canada. We, good question. I mean, trying to keep it brief or try to keep it brief. I've studied in the eco adventure world, but in the last 5, 6 years, I've redirected my life and my career to the multimedia world. I've been lucky to be behind lenses since my adolescence, and I've now made it a career as a professional photographer, videographer, and drone pilot, helping my wife run, like I say, a small bean company in Whistler, and she runs the web and graphic and art division of our company.
Nice. So I'm sure you've learned a lot being an entrepreneur and an artist. What's one thing that comes to mind?
Great question. I took some notes down because a lot of things came to mind. I remember when you and I first started chatting, I was like, what does come to mind? What's my things that I've learned the most? And it's difficult, I guess, like I'm sure a lot of the people you've spoken to and a lot of your listeners will relate to. It's hard to pick one thing that you've learned that helps because they seem to all intertwine. One lesson seems to lead to another, et cetera, et cetera. I think a big one for us and our company, I guess I can focus on, was the approach that men and women, generally speaking, have towards gear. I'm sure you have a lot of listeners out there who are men who relate to loving the best gear, and whether it's photo, video, drone gear, or it's camping gear, or it's the latest watch with built-in GPS and all that. It seems like I can relate well with men when it comes to gear. And don't get me wrong, I know there's gear women out there that are gearheads, but generally speaking, men seem to get excited with gear. All that to say, in the early stages of our business, when money was certainly a little thinner than it is now, I was always of the mindset, let's grab the gear. We need the best camera. We'd have these business meetings. We need the best camera. We need the best lens and all that. And my wife would just gently ask, for what job? And I said, well, no job yet, but we're going to have the camera when the job comes. And she would insist that we would get the work first that requires that particular piece of equipment or lens or drone, and then go buy the gear if it justifies it. And I was certainly resistant to that. I was like, come on. And it's probably saved us and has helped contribute to certainly our longevity, was the approach of go find the work that justifies that $10,000 lens before buying it. So she's helped me a lot in that way. And just the last little spin-off on that is now we've approached renting. So now instead of even buying that $10,000 lens because of a client we met who needs a $10,000 lens to do these beautiful photos, now we meet the client and we say, perfect. What type of lens would you like? He's like, well, I absolutely need a $10,000 lens. We're like, perfect. We'll rent it for you. We'll have it for your project and we'll just add it to the invoice. And so they're like, oh. So then it really contributes to all the things we want. It contributes to clients maintaining creative control with our consult and our creative experience and advice, but it really puts everyone in a fun driver's seat that isn't threatening. It isn't offset for anyone. So I'd say that would be my first big one.
That's very crafty because it keeps expenses low. And
Yeah.
some of my first microphones, they were like $40, $100, and in the last year, since I had the money generated, I could afford a decent mic. So I totally hear that. So what are you working on right now? You've been a very busy guy. We've had to reschedule this a couple of times because you're so busy.
Yes, and I'm happy to put this live on the air globally as an apology, a sincere apology for the amount of
Oh,
times
don't
we've
worry
had to
about it.
reschedule. We, the industry of shooting, as you can imagine, is so dependent on, certainly outdoor shooting is so dependent on weather, first thing, but things need to line up. Many more things than we had anticipated until we got into really comprehensive projects. But most recently, I'm lucky to say that because of my guiding background, my outdoor guiding background, and now the marriage of photo, video, and drone, I've been lucky. I just finished a beautiful private heli ski experience with a family. So part of what we do, we'll shoot at anything from architectural photography for a house. If you are a realtor and you need some photos, we do that, to business promotion because you just started a new podcast company and you need to have, hi, hi everyone, my name is Evan Schmidt and I'm doing your podcast. So we would do like a white screen video for you so you have a 30-second sizzler on your website. Well, all that, all the way over to getting hired to do tag-alongs with, families or groups, and I'll go heli skiing with them and just take their photos, video, take the drone out at lunchtime and follow them and things like that. That's one of the things we're working on. I'm also really lucky to be working on some video campaigns with the Whistler Sliding Center. So that's, if your listeners want to think back to the 2010 Winter Olympics, they were held in Vancouver and Whistler. And one of the great things that we, I guess, acquired from that was the whole bobsled, skeleton, and luge track here in Whistler. Well, since then, not only do they open it to other teams from around the world to train there, but they've opened it to the public. So if you come visiting in Whistler, you have the opportunity to go into a bobsled driven by a professional pilot, but you also have the opportunity of doing skeleton by yourself. And I'm not sure, Evan, if you're familiar with skeleton, it is head first on your belly on a track. And they obviously can't start you from the top because I'm guessing you'd fly out of the track. But they start you
Right.
high enough that you reach speeds of 95 to 100 kilometers an hour. An inch,
Oh,
your chin is an inch off this ice and you're face forward and you got a helmet and you're in jeans or whatever, like, ideally ski pants and stuff, but you get to hit 2 to 3 Gs of force into these corners and it's gone, it's exploded as a product. All that to
wow.
say, we just finished shooting some promo video content because they want to keep promoting the sport itself and the activity. And this afternoon, I'm going to a meeting at the Whistler Olympic Park where that same organization does um, all kinds of different, like, biathlon for public, which is, again, these things they blow my mind that they allow public to skate ski in with a 22 gauge rifle in their hand and start shooting. Like, it's blowing my mind that all these things are public. It's awesome. So anyways, we're
Yeah.
helping that whole organization. I'd say that that's what is most current and most recent.
Well, and you're in a beautiful place that allows that stuff. I mean, Whistler. It's
Yes.
I was there in August to mountain bike with my brother, and yeah, it's that downhill, the bike park. Holy smokes! I grew up mountain biking, and I mean, I was a little rusty because I haven't done it in a few years. But
Sure.
holy smokes, the bike park rack just just
Yeah.
blew my arms up, and I
Yeah.
rented. So
Yeah, it blows my mind every time I'm in there. We it's an amazing park. And now 12-year-olds are like, "Left, sir, left." And then you look to your left and their tires are passing you at head height. You're like, "Oh my God." It's awesome.
they're climbing boulders. Well, cool. Well, Mark, thanks for coming on the show today and getting creative with me.
Hey, my pleasure, Evan. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, and actually, before I forget, where can people find you?
Best place is Reactive Design Inc., which is inc.com, reactivedesigninc.com.
That's it for another episode of Get Creative. You can find more information about my guest in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe so that you get the next episode in your sleep. And please give the show a review. For more information about me, go to evanschmidt.com, follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and watch my vlog on YouTube where I share lessons that I've learned. Thank you for listening. Now go get creative.